I'm Derek,
And I'm Jhinil.
and welcome
Welcome
to
to
Jamerican
Jamerican Love.
Love. Welcome to the channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. We hope that, it will be a blessing. We just want to share, a little bit of our lives. We may not share everything, but, you
Right.
know, so we hope that you all join us in this journey on Jamerican Love. So you probably want to know a little bit about us. I'm sure they do. So first of all, but if you want to start,
I'll let
you
you
want to start?
start.
Okay. So first of all, I'm Derek, and this is my fiance. And so we're currently in the process of marriage or the wedding process. so
Yes.
so you all, logged on at the right time to kind of watch us in this journey of preparation. So yeah, and like I said, I'll get, a little bit more into, my whole our story, but that's all I have. Is
Well, thank you for that. So I'm Jhinil, and this is my fiance, Derek. I guess as we get deeper into conversation, you'll get to know us a little bit more in depth.
all right. That was good.
Thank
All
you.
right. So how did we meet? I'm sure that's the question
Mhm.
most people want to ask. How did we actually get together? We have a very unique, I would say, kind of testimonial.
We do.
So, babe, did she's going to tell me to start.
Yeah,
So it's not, I
absolutely.
don't even know why I asked. So at this point, I'm just going to jump
The
in.
leader.
But I do want to be a gentleman. I'm a gentleman, right?
I appreciate that.
But I am a gentleman.
Of course you are.
Okay. I don't know. That was a little shaky, but yeah. So basically, wow, I guess it was, well, let's say this, how we met, because again, we were friends,
Yes.
actually co-workers.
Hmm.
Actually, I was her supervisor.
Yes.
It wasn't like that. So we're gonna clear that up too. So for the, because they thinking some weird stuff. So
Mhm.
but we work, at the same place of employment, still do.
Yeah.
I was, supervisor at another location, transferred in as a supervisor of the current location where she was working at the time. And, of course, it was just, the typical employee type of relationship, things like that. Of course, I was married, at the time. She was as well. I'm a divorcee, so I will be open with that as well. So for past little over 4 years. And so again, things, let's say, for the most part, we're just friends, just co-workers type of thing. I'm a supervisor. Of course, you can't, do certain things. And also, again, she was married. So time went on. Of course, she, left the branch, things of that nature. She went on to get a couple of promotions and everything. So she wasn't no longer working under my supervision. And so recently this year, and I'll let her share on some other things, but I'll just jump to, where we started to, I guess, make the change, or things started to change
Mhm.
for us in our relationship from, coworkers to seeing something potentially in us that could
Yes.
blossom and grow possibly. Now, of course, it was definitely a little, when you're venturing into something like this, especially when it's a work relationship, I'm sure some of you all know how it could be. You got to be very cautious with it. And so we were very private throughout the whole process. But yeah, we just decided to, I saw some things. I did notice her. So it wasn't like I never noticed her. I did want to, just to be able to find out a little bit more about her, because I just knew, Jhinil just from, being her supervisor. So I really didn't know like personal thing, like what she really likes. I knew some things, but I needed to know a little deeper, especially if you delve into a relationship. So I decided to basically, I guess I asked you out. I don't know if I did. It
You
was weird.
yes.
Yeah, it was kind of
You
weird.
yes. You asked me. Are you
Yeah,
not
I
sure?
guess because it was weird. It was
It
like
was
I felt like
weird.
we both were asking each other out in a weird, indirect
Ooh,
way. That's what I
really?
feel. I could be wrong. I know
Mm-mm.
I'm right, but I could be wrong.
You wrong.
Yeah. So that was the thing, and so basically we started. I think I asked you to go was it Dave and Buster's, because again, she's going to tell you a little bit. So I'm trying not to jump into her part of it, because
I want you to
it's
tell your part.
okay. So I'm gonna keep out certain parts, and then she'll fill in when she tell you hers.
Ooh.
Okay. So basically, I wanted to know a little bit about her. But I was trying to hedge my bets in a way because I'm like, okay, I want to do it in a way where if there isn't an interest, then it just looks like I'm just a regular friend. So you have to do this. It's a strategic process here. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, I'm like, well, you're free, at this point. Now, keep in mind, I did say, she was married, so she'll get into that part. But this is the point where neither one of us are. So,
Right.
so I wanted to clear. Let's make that clear, but so we're at a stage where both of us are free and we are dating, we're both dating. And so I said, well, let's go to Dave and Buster. And just, hey, you don't have nothing to do. I ain't got nothing. We're both in the dating scene. Let's have some fun. So that's kind of how it started. We had a wonderful conversation.
We did.
Had fun.
Yes.
We enjoyed us. So I had a good time at Dave and Buster. And then we just talked and talked for
Hours.
I thought we was never going to leave because we didn't know that we had so much in common.
Right.
So, and from that point, we just been talking ever since. And just kind of like, continue to interact, continue to learn about each other. And so it definitely just been a blessing just to learn another side of her because, like I said, I know the coworker relationship, the professional relationship, but now I'm able to delve into her personality and her wants and some personal things. And so it's been great to be able to see the other sides to Jhinil. And and in December, so that was in June. That was June.
Yes.
So this is another thing. So we went back and forth for a minute trying to agree on our first official, I guess, date or when we first met or exclusivity.
Yes.
So I think we agreed on June 9th. Yes, 2024. Yes. So I, chose to jump out there. Of course, we went to the movies, saw a couple of movies. And so that was great. I decided to normally this out of my personality, but she had went to the restroom and she came back, before we, went into the movies. And when she came back, I decided to give her a kiss. Okay. So this is in front of the whole, everybody's out, outside of the theater area. And so I just say, hey, I'm going to do it. I built the courage, build it up. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it, and just, hey. So she came walking, looking beautiful, beautiful dress on, beautiful smile. I said, hey, this is the moment. This is the time. I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I went ahead and did it, kissed her. She fainted. She fainted. Paramedics, everybody was there. It was serious.
Really?
Yeah.
You sure you're telling the story?
No, I'm just saying. And I know you probably didn't want all that revealed, but no, seriously. But no, she was very surprised. Let's say that. And from there, I mean, of course, we enjoyed the movie. It's a great movie after so we had a good time. And so basically from there, went on, saw a couple other movies, tried to hang out a little bit.
We did.
Just kept, ever since then, talk every day. We don't miss days. As of December 24th, 2024, I decided to propose to Jhinil. She did say yes. Yes. So I'm excited about that. So that's just a little bit in a nutshell. It's a lot of little details that we'll continue to get into, but that definitely was just kind of in a nutshell of how our process went. So as you can see with the thumbnail, it says 6 months. So literally in 6 months, so we were very serious. And that's another thing. We were very intentional, because I know a lot of people, and we even talked about it, how, may not be as intentional about it. But one thing about it, we knew that this is what we want, because we would ask even questions like, okay, how long would it take? How long would you wait? Things like that. And so, I was like, most men know, within 6 months, typically, if they want to get engaged, I didn't want to go really past a year, 2 years max. I think we both were in the same agreement because we just didn't want to waste a lot of time. Because some people date and this thing going 3-5 years, they're having 10-year dating anniversaries like they're married 20 years. I mean, it's so long at that point, and so we was like, look, we know what we want. We're not getting any younger. We just want to, we locked in, let's just make this, once we come to an agreement, let's just start to move forward in the process. And so that's what we decided to do. And like I said, now we engaged less than 6 months.
Yeah.
And we're excited. So
We definitely
yeah. So that was my little synopsis and
Okay.
summary. So yeah, babe.
I guess it's my turn, huh?
Yes, it's your turn.
Okay. So, how we met. So, you were my supervisor. I was under your leadership for a few years.
Was I a good supervisor?
You were, and you still are a good
Okay.
supervisor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were very supportive throughout, my journey in life. You have definitely been a blessing.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So, for me, I'm a widow. My late husband passed away, and he was ill. And during the time of him being ill, my former supervisor here, he was a great supervisor. Having him as a supervisor really assisted me during those times. It was very difficult to go through on a day-to-day basis being a caregiver. And so when you do have a supervisor that is very understanding, it does takes a lot of weight off you. And so throughout that journey, of course, I was married. He was married at some point in time. And also I think I he was divorced during that process of him being my supervisor. He assisted me with my promotion in terms of interviews and stuff like that. So he has always been, a part of my journey in life. So after I got promoted, he was my go-to person. If ever I needed assistance regarding staff members, he would be the first person I called. And that was because I trust his leadership skill set. And of course, because I was under his leadership, it was very easy for me to go to him for advice. So we definitely kept in touch. I don't think there was ever 2 months that passed without either of us reaching out, or I would say maybe a month or something. Like we always communicated, whether I would reach out or you would reach out. So we always kept that relationship going, that friendship. So when I became a widow, I was promoted again.
Yes.
And of course,
killing it.
And of course, you played a part in that too. I think yes, you did. You played a part in that interview. You assisted me in being prepared for that interview, which was a blessing. And then again, I would definitely lean towards him for guidance when it came on to leading a team. We communicated more on my we communicated more so when I was promoted the second time around. I think so because of course it was a step higher and the dynamics was different. The first branch was a little bit different, and so me promoting up with more responsibilities, I would reach out to you very often for guidance. And at that time, I was a widow and we were just friends, we communicated every now and then and so forth. And so I remember we started communicating more so, I would say, I think between May, June, somewhere about there. I think May was somewhere when we started communicating more. And we would text every now and then. And I said to myself, do you think he like, nah. For me, I was, communicating, but nothing serious. And so it so happened we were chatting practically almost every day at one point in time. We were texting back and forth, just conversating. And then, I guess during us communicating, I realized that we had more in common than I thought. because this was me now, getting to know you on a personal note,
Yeah.
while prior it was on a professional
Yeah.
note. And so I remember one time you text and you were
Mhm.
like, I'm going to the movies.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, all the best.
I was throwing. I'm throwing little stuff out there. It just not hitting. It wasn't landing like I thought it was going to land. So I
But
have
I
a good
did
time. You
ask
said
you.
have a good
I
time.
did. And I did ask you a few hours after. I was like,
Hmm.
how was the movie?
Right.
What did you
I didn't go to the movie. Okay.
Hey.
Yeah, that's right. Because the plan was for you to go with me, but
Which
yeah. But
hey.
I'm going through the back door. Okay, I wasn't quite going through the front door. Okay, so.
uh, but I remember one day, it was the weather was nice, and so we were texting, and then you were like, "Want to go to Dave and Buster?" I was like, "Okay." So I was like, "Why not?" And so we went, and when we met, we had a great time. I felt like a kid at heart.
Oh yeah.
It was a great
So
time.
he was on all the little machines
Yeah.
and shaking and doing all the little
Yeah.
vibrating
Yep.
machine
We
thingy.
were.
Yeah.
And then you missed no points when you hit that
Oh yeah.
basketball thingy.
Hey, that's what I do. That's what I do. Yeah. That's it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hey.
But we lost track of time because we were having a great
Yeah.
time. And, we had great conversations. And so we
Yeah.
dug deeper into just a little bit more on a personal note. And it was very refreshing to kind of, have conversations with you because, prior or conversations were mostly work related stuff.
Yeah.
So us coming out and having a little fun, it was more so a little bit general.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, we kept communicating each and every day because I guess Dave and Buster it was a great time for us to kind of spend together to kind of have us realizing that we do have much more in common than we
Yeah.
thought we would. And so after that, we kept communicating until you asked me out to the movies. Was that a date?
Yes, that definitely
Okay, it
was.
felt
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
I would say it was.
Yeah. You
And
try to hold my
so
hand, so yeah, man.
you said what?
You tried to hold my hand when we were
No,
walking to the
no,
theater. I'm just saying. I
no.
felt something just
Maybe it was
brushing.
the wind.
No, you was just brushing it.
Maybe it was the wind.
I'm just saying.
Hey.
Hey.
No. But we had a great time.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the name of the movie we watched. Was it
Yeah.
Bad Boys for Life? We watched so many
Yeah,
movies. So
probably. Yeah.
I don't
One of them.
remember. Hey.
Yeah. It was about 2 or 3 movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was like 2 or 3 of them. So
Hey.
I don't even know at this point. But
Hey.
yeah.
So I remembered when we ordered, and then no, this was before we ordered. We went to the restroom. Trying to remember if we had ordered first.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
we
Because we were
ordered.
getting we're getting our plant-based impossible
Yeah.
nuggets.
Yes. Yeah.
We don't eat meat, by the way.
No, we
Just
don't.
let you know. So
We
that's a
don't.
whole. We'll talk about that later. But yeah.
Yes, so we both decided to use the restroom, went our separate ways. And so I was heading back to you, and then I saw you, and you were smiling, and I was smiling too in my cute little dress.
Yes.
And then you held me and kissed me. And I was surprised. I was kind of nervous, but I was kissing you. I was going with the flow. Definitely surprised because I was not expecting it, especially in the public like
Right.
that. I was like,
I'm so reserved
okay,
anyway. So
exactly.
both of
So
us actually
yeah,
are.
that's
So
why I was so surprised. Yeah, and then that's where we decided that hey, we both knew at the time that we felt connection, and we kept asking questions back and forth.
Yeah.
And then we made the decision that, you know what, we're going to communicate at first.
Yeah.
We said we're communicating first because we know the work dynamics.
Yeah.
and we never wanted to, we are both personal, and so we wanted to make sure that, this is where we want to be.
Yeah.
And so we decided, hey, we're going to communicate. Of course, you did ask me if that was a new term.
Oh, to communicate.
Yes.
She was using it so much. I thought I wasn't communicating before I met her. I was just like, you gotta
No.
communicate.
I mean, for me, I
No,
was
no.
like, well, we're communicating because I didn't
Because it
want
was
it to
different
say,
levels. It was different, like,
yeah,
you have your, the friends, the best friends,
right,
associates.
right.
We were communicating.
We were, yeah. I made it up. Hey. And so we communicated for a while and then realized that, hey, we think it's time to graduate. And so we graduated to being exclusive. Yeah. And here we are now.
Here we are.
I'm engaged.
Yes. Show the ring, but
Okay,
yeah. She knows she hold it. That's a promise ring.
Yeah, that's the promise.
So that's a whole. It's a lot of processes going on
it's
here.
It's a whole lot.
But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That was
welcome.
Beautiful introduction. Also, a little bit about it, because you may know that it's called Jamerican Love, or Jamerican. It's a play on Jamaican American, right?
Right.
So I'm born in America all my life. So, and then of course you can hear my fiance's accent. So where were you born?
In Jamaica.
All right. So that's how we came up with Jamerican Love. So.
Yeah.
So we wanted to just try to, give our, for our first video, just give just a brief introduction of who we are, just so you know a little bit about us. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we just hope you all join us on this journey, because we will be talking about different relationship things. Obviously, we're going through the wedding planning process. So all types of processes, premarital counseling. Yes. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things we're learning in the process. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we both, been married before. So we got, knowledge, experiences from that. So it's a lot of things kind of intertwined. But we hope to be able to share, a lot of information, and hopefully, baby, they could be blessed, by some of the tidbits and different things that we share. Mm-hmm. So we're going to, hopefully the goal is to at least once a week. Yes. If not every other week. Again, it is busy because we got a lot on our plate. We do. But we do want to, at least once a week or every other week, have a video out. Mm-hmm. But to make sure you get the video in a timely manner, please subscribe so you can get that notification and hit that notification bell as well. All right. Well, I'm Derek, and
I'm Jhinil,
and this is Jamerican Love, and we'll see you on our next video.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.